Imagine waking up every morning and realizing that the most important person you need to take care of is yourself. Not your job, not your relationships, not your goals, but you. That is the secret many overlook. Self-love is not about vanity. It is about understanding that your mind, your heart, your soul deserve the same care and attention you give to everyone else. When you nourish yourself, you create the soil where all growth can take root. Without it, no achievement, no dream, no relationship can truly flourish. You see, self-love is simple yet profound. It starts with small acts of kindness toward yourself. It is saying no when your energy is low. It is resting without guilt. It is celebrating your victories no matter how small. It is forgiving yourself for mistakes instead of punishing your spirit. Every day you choose self-love, you are planting seeds of confidence, resilience, and clarity. You are telling the world that you are worthy of your own care before seeking approval from anyone else. Too often we measure ourselves through comparison. We look at others' success and feel inadequate, forgetting that we are tending our own garden. Growth does not happen by imitating others. Growth happens when you honor your rhythm, your pace, your process. Self-love teaches patience. It teaches that your journey is sacred and unique. When you embrace yourself fully, you stop waiting for external validation and start creating from a place of strength. You stop chasing fleeting admiration and start building a life rooted in authenticity. And here is the beauty of self-love: it is contagious. When you value yourself, you set a standard for how others treat you. Your confidence becomes a beacon. Your boundaries become a shield for your energy. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot inspire others if you do not first nurture your own spirit. Every choice you make, every word you speak, every action you take begins with the foundation of self-love. Without it, nothing else can stand tall. When we talk about growth, we often picture achievements, promotions, new skills, or milestones. We imagine the outward signs of success, the tangible results of our efforts. But growth is never truly sustainable unless it begins from within. It begins with self-love, the recognition that you, in your entirety, are worthy of care, attention, and respect. Self-love is the root, the foundation, the invisible soil from which everything else sprouts. Without it, any progress you make risks being shallow, fragile, or easily disrupted by the winds of doubt and criticism. Understanding this is the first step toward cultivating a life that is not only successful in the eyes of the world, but deeply fulfilling in the core of your being. Self-love is not just about feeling good about yourself when things go well. It is about consistently acknowledging your worth, even when you stumble, even when the world seems to be against you. When you nourish your inner self, you create strength that cannot be borrowed from others. Imagine a tree whose roots are weak. No matter how green its leaves appear, no matter how tall it grows in the sunlight, a storm will shake it to its core. The same happens to a person who neglects self-love. Achievements may come, recognition may arrive, but without an inner foundation, the smallest challenge can create disproportionate anxiety, fear, or self-doubt. By prioritizing self-love, you are effectively strengthening your roots so that growth is not only possible, but resilient and enduring. Nurturing self-love means more than self-indulgence. It is the deliberate act of understanding your needs, listening to your feelings, and allowing yourself the grace to grow at your own pace. It is celebrating your successes, no matter how small, and forgiving your failures without judgment. Every time you offer yourself patience and kindness, you are feeding the foundation of your growth. You are telling your mind, your heart, and your soul that they are important, that they matter, that they deserve attention. And the energy you invest in this inner care multiplies in all areas of life. Your confidence strengthens, your decisions become clearer, and your ability to handle challenges improves. Growth is no longer a battle of willpower alone. it becomes an organic process nurtured by self-respect. Self-love also teaches you the art of boundaries, one of the most crucial elements in sustainable growth. When you honor yourself, you begin to recognize what serves you and what drains you. You learn to say no without guilt, to step away from negativity without hesitation, and to protect your energy as carefully as a gardener tends a precious plant. Growth cannot thrive in a toxic environment, and self-love is the guide that ensures your surroundings, relationships, and habits align with your well-being. By establishing these boundaries, you create the conditions for your inner and outer growth to flourish in harmony. Another aspect of self-love is authenticity. Growth that is rooted in self-love is genuine. You stop living to satisfy external expectations or chasing approval that never feels enough. You grow according to your values, your passions, and your unique journey. When the foundation is strong, you are less likely to be swayed by comparison or criticism. Instead, you measure your progress by your own standards and celebrate every step forward as a victory. Authenticity allows you to grow without compromise, to pursue your purpose with integrity, and to inspire others simply by being fully yourself. Self-love is also deeply tied to resilience. Life is unpredictable. Obstacles appear, failures occur, and disappointment knocks at every door. Without self-love, these experiences can shake you, leaving you questioning your worth and doubting your potential. With self-love, you are anchored. You have an inner reservoir of patience, compassion, and strength that allows you to face adversity, learn from it, and continue growing. You understand that setbacks are part of the journey, not a reflection of your value. This perspective transforms challenges into lessons, difficulties into opportunities, and pain into growth. Finally, self-love nurtures creativity, purpose, and fulfillment. When you honor yourself, you create space for your dreams to take shape. You listen to your intuition, trust your ideas, and take action aligned with your deepest desires. Every step of growth becomes meaningful because it is rooted in the belief that you are deserving of your own investment. You no longer chase growth blindly or superficially. Instead, every accomplishment becomes a reflection of the love and attention you have given to yourself. Self-love makes your growth intentional, powerful, and sustainable. Growth without self-love is like building a house on sand. It may look impressive for a while, but it cannot withstand the storms. Self-love is the soil, the foundation, the unseen force that gives structure, stability, and depth to every layer of progress. By cultivating it, you ensure that everything you build, your skills, your relationships, your achievements, stands strong and continues to flourish. It is the quiet, consistent act of valuing yourself that transforms potential into reality and ambition into true fulfillment. And when you truly embrace self-love, you realize that every step of growth, no matter how small, is a reflection of the care you give to your own life. This understanding becomes not just a lesson but a way of living. It is the foundation upon which every dream, every success, every meaningful connection is built. Growth becomes inevitable when self-love is present, because you are no longer dependent on the world to validate your worth. You carry it within, and from there, anything is possible. Resilience is often seen as something we are born with, a trait some people seem to naturally possess while others struggle to find. But the truth is that resilience is not a fixed gift. It is a skill, a practice, and its foundation lies in self-love. Nurturing yourself builds resilience against life's challenges, because when you truly value your own being, you create an inner strength that cannot be easily shaken. Life will always test you. It will present obstacles, disappointments, and moments of deep uncertainty. Without a strong sense of self, these challenges can feel overwhelming, like waves threatening to pull you under. Self-love, however, acts like an anchor. It grounds you in your worth, reminding you that no matter the external chaos, you have the internal resources to navigate through it. self-love and resilience are intertwined in ways that many overlook. When you take care of your emotional, mental, and physical well-being, you are preparing yourself to face difficulties with clarity and confidence. This care is not indulgence, it is preparation. Every time you rest when needed, speak kindly to yourself, or forgive yourself for mistakes, you are fortifying your mind and spirit. You are signaling to yourself that you matter enough to withstand challenges and emerge stronger. Resilience does not mean never feeling pain or fear. It means having the strength to acknowledge these feelings without letting them define you. It means falling, knowing you can rise, because your foundation is rooted in self-love. One of the most powerful ways self-love builds resilience is by helping you develop perspective. When you are grounded in self-respect, you can view setbacks not as reflections of your worth, but as natural parts of life's journey. A mistake at work, a failed relationship, or a personal disappointment stops being a catastrophe and becomes a lesson. This perspective transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. It allows you to respond to adversity with thoughtfulness rather than reaction, with strategy rather than panic. Self-love teaches you patience with yourself, patience with the process, and patience with life itself. Patience is the backbone of resilience because it prevents you from giving up when immediate results do not appear. Boundaries are another critical element that connects self-love to resilience. When you nurture yourself, you learn to protect your energy. You begin to recognize situations, people, and habits that drain you or diminish your sense of self. Establishing boundaries is not selfish. It is an act of self-preservation. Resilience thrives when you are not constantly exposed to unnecessary harm or negativity. By protecting yourself, you maintain the stability of your inner world. This stability allows you to confront challenges from a place of strength rather than fear or exhaustion. A resilient person is not someone who faces every storm without preparation. They are someone who has cultivated an inner environment that supports endurance, recovery, and growth. Self-love also empowers you to make choices that reinforce your resilience. When you value yourself, you refuse to tolerate situations that erode your confidence or compromise your principles. You choose actions, relationships, and habits that align with your highest good. Each choice rooted in self-love strengthens your ability to cope with future difficulties, because it reinforces the belief that you deserve support, peace, and happiness. Over time, these decisions accumulate into a network of protective structures that allow you to confront life with courage. Resilience is less about surviving and more about thriving, and thriving begins when you invest in your own value. Another essential aspect of self-love in building resilience is emotional regulation. Life will inevitably bring moments of anger, grief, or frustration. Without a strong foundation, these emotions can consume you, leading to rash decisions or prolonged suffering. When you love yourself, you learn to observe your feelings without judgment. You give yourself space to process them, reflect, and respond appropriately. This ability to manage your emotional landscape is what transforms temporary adversity into long-term growth. Self-love teaches you that your feelings are valid, but they do not have to control your actions or define your trajectory. Resilience emerges naturally from this balance of awareness and self-compassion. Resilience built on self-love is also a source of empowerment in relationships. When you respect yourself, you refuse to allow others to diminish your worth. You respond to criticism with discernment, support with intention, and conflict with patience. Your ability to withstand interpersonal challenges grows because you are rooted in a consistent sense of value that cannot be swayed by external approval or disapproval. In every area of life, from career setbacks to personal struggles, the strength that self-love provides is the difference between being crushed by difficulty and rising stronger after it. Finally, nurturing yourself cultivates long-term sustainability. Growth without resilience is fragile. Achievements gained without inner strength are fleeting. By investing in self-care, self-forgiveness, and self-respect, you create a life that is not just about surviving challenges, but about embracing them as opportunities to evolve. Resilience built on self-love is not reactive, it is proactive. It allows you to face life with courage, grace, and clarity, knowing that no matter the storm, you have the strength to navigate through it. When you truly understand the connection between self-love and resilience, you realize that building yourself from the inside out is not optional. It is essential. Life will test you, but when you nurture your mind, heart, and spirit, challenges no longer break you. They shape you, refine you, and prepare you for the next level of growth. Self-love is the invisible armor that allows you to move forward with confidence. And through it, resilience becomes not just a response, but a way of living. Boundaries are often misunderstood as walls that isolate us from others or as signs of selfishness, but in reality, they are the expression of self-respect and a vital element of self-love. They are the invisible lines we draw to protect our energy, our time, and our emotional well-being. Growth cannot occur in an environment where these boundaries are absent, because without them, we constantly surrender ourselves to the expectations, demands, and influences of others. When you honor your own needs first, you create a fertile space for your development to thrive. Self-love teaches us that boundaries are not restrictions but shields, necessary to preserve our essence and allow our growth to be sustainable. Establishing boundaries begins with awareness. You must first understand your limits, your values, and what nurtures or drains you. Many people spend their lives reacting to external pressures, saying yes when they want to say no, and accommodating others at the cost of their own energy. This pattern slowly erodes confidence, drains motivation, and stifles growth. Boundaries, when informed by self-love, provide clarity. They allow you to distinguish between what serves your well-being and what diminishes it. They are the foundation that ensures your journey is guided by your own choices, rather than the whims of those around you. Boundaries also foster resilience. Life will present challenges, and people will test your limits, intentionally or not. Without clear boundaries, your sense of self can become compromised, and challenges that should be manageable become overwhelming. When you maintain boundaries, you conserve your energy for what truly matters. You choose the battles worth fighting and the commitments worth keeping. This focus allows growth to occur in areas that align with your values and aspirations, instead of being scattered and weakened by unnecessary stress or conflict. Self-love reinforces the importance of these boundaries because it constantly reminds you that your time, energy, and well-being are valuable resources that must be protected. Another dimension of boundaries is emotional protection. Life is filled with opinions, judgments, and negativity from external sources. People often try to impose their beliefs, expectations, or criticisms upon us, sometimes unconsciously. Without boundaries, these external pressures can infiltrate our minds, create doubt, and destabilize our sense of self. By drawing healthy emotional boundaries, we safeguard our mental and emotional spaces, allowing us to process experiences from a place of clarity rather than confusion. Self-love provides the courage to say no, to step back from toxic relationships, and to prioritize our mental health over temporary approval. This act of protection is not avoidance. It is strategic cultivation of conditions necessary for growth. Boundaries also teach us the value of time and energy. Growth requires focus, effort, and dedication, and without boundaries, these precious resources are often squandered. Self-love gives us the insight to allocate our attention wisely, investing in activities, relationships, and habits that contribute positively to our development. It allows us to decline engagements that drain us and to create routines that nourish both our mind and body. By valuing our own time as much as we value others, We create a rhythm that supports long-term growth instead of short-term exhaustion. Boundaries are, in this sense, acts of respect toward our future selves, ensuring that we have the energy and clarity to pursue our goals consistently. Boundaries also deepen our relationships rather than weaken them. Many people fear that setting limits will push others away, but in truth, healthy boundaries foster respect and authenticity. When you are clear about your needs and communicate them with confidence, you attract connections that honor your values. Growth thrives in environments where relationships are supportive rather than draining, where collaboration replaces compromise, and where mutual respect allows each person to flourish. Self-love ensures that these boundaries are not arbitrary or defensive, but intentional acts that protect your integrity while enhancing your connections with others. Furthermore, boundaries are essential for maintaining self-identity. In the absence of limits, we often lose sight of who we are, molding ourselves to meet the expectations of others. Growth in such circumstances becomes misguided because it is based on external validation rather than inner truth. Self-love helps you to recognize that your journey is yours alone. It gives you the clarity to make choices that align with your authentic self, even if it means disappointing others or facing temporary discomfort. These boundaries preserve the essence of who you are, allowing your growth to be aligned with your true values and aspirations. Finally, boundaries are a reflection of self-empowerment. When you enforce limits, you claim ownership of your life and your energy. You stop being reactive to circumstances and begin being intentional with your actions. Growth is no longer a result of chance or external influence. It becomes a conscious process guided by the respect you have for yourself. Every boundary you set strengthens your foundation, fortifying the connection between self-love and personal development. By protecting your energy, nurturing your mental and emotional spaces, and honoring your needs, you create the conditions necessary for deep, sustainable growth. Boundaries are not obstacles, they are gateways. They are the structures that ensure your life is guided by purpose, clarity, and respect for yourself. When rooted in self-love, boundaries become the silent force that supports every step of growth, allowing you to flourish with strength, authenticity, and confidence. The act of protecting yourself is not just self-care, it is the essential groundwork for a life built on solid and enduring growth. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as an act we offer to others, but its most powerful form begins within ourselves. Forgiving yourself is one of the most essential practices of self-love, and it directly impacts your ability to grow. Life is full of mistakes, missteps, and moments we wish we could change. We look back on decisions that didn't turn out as planned and allow guilt, regret, or shame to take root in our minds. This internal judgment becomes a weight that slows us down, clouds our clarity, and prevents us from moving forward. Self-love teaches us that forgiving ourselves is not optional. It is necessary if we want to create lasting growth. When you forgive yourself, you acknowledge that you are human and that imperfection is part of existence. Growth does not come from perfection. It comes from learning, adapting, and evolving. By holding on to past mistakes, we trap ourselves in cycles of negativity that drain energy and obscure potential. Self-forgiveness frees you from these chains. It allows you to examine your experiences without self-punishment, to extract lessons without lingering in regret, and to approach each new moment with a renewed sense of possibility. In this sense, forgiveness becomes an act of liberation, a way to untangle yourself from the past so you can fully inhabit the present. Self-forgiveness also cultivates resilience. Life will inevitably bring setbacks, failures, and disappointments. But when you have practiced forgiving yourself, you are better equipped to recover. You no longer see mistakes as reflections of your worth. Instead, you see them as opportunities for growth and learning. Each misstep becomes a teacher, guiding you toward wiser decisions and deeper self-understanding. Without forgiveness, mistakes can become anchors, weighing you down and inhibiting forward movement. With forgiveness, they become stepping stones, each one contributing to the foundation of your personal development. The process of self-forgiveness is deeply tied to self-awareness. To forgive yourself, you must first understand the choices you made, the motivations behind them, and the context in which they occurred. This requires honesty, introspection, and courage. You cannot genuinely forgive without acknowledging the truth of your actions. But you also cannot remain stuck in self-blame. Self-love provides the balance necessary to hold both honesty and compassion simultaneously. You see where you went wrong, but you also recognize that mistakes are not the sum total of your being. Your worth is not diminished because you erred. It is reaffirmed when you treat yourself with kindness despite the error. Forgiving yourself enhances emotional freedom. Guilt, regret, and shame are heavy emotions that can dominate thoughts and distort perception. When we forgive ourselves, we release this burden, creating mental and emotional space for growth. This freedom allows us to approach challenges with clarity, creativity, and confidence rather than hesitation or fear. It also improves our relationships, because when we stop punishing ourselves internally, we are less likely to project negativity outwardly. Forgiveness is both a protective and empowering practice. It shields your energy from unnecessary suffering and empowers you to move with purpose. Moreover, self-forgiveness strengthens decision-making. When we are trapped in self-criticism, every choice becomes clouded by fear of failure or repetition of past mistakes. We hesitate, we doubt, and we limit ourselves. By forgiving ourselves, we cultivate a mindset that embraces possibility rather than punishment. We learn to act with intention, to take risks aligned with our values, and to pursue goals without being paralyzed by what went wrong before. Growth flourishes in an environment of trust. Trust in oneself, trust in one's capacity to learn, and trust that mistakes do not define the future. Forgiving yourself is also a profound act of self-compassion. It is the acknowledgement that your mind, heart, and soul deserve care even when you stumble. This practice reinforces your sense of self-love because it demonstrates that your worth is unconditional. It is not contingent on performance, approval, or external validation. When you practice self-forgiveness, you send a clear message to yourself: you are worthy, you are capable, and you are deserving of growth and happiness. This message forms the inner narrative that guides every decision, every action, and every interaction. Finally, self-forgiveness is a gateway to authentic growth. Without it, personal development remains superficial, motivated by guilt or the desire to compensate for past errors. With it, growth becomes genuine, fueled by understanding, compassion, and self-respect. Forgiveness clears the path for transformation, allowing you to embrace opportunities, relationships, and experiences fully. It allows your growth to be sustainable, intentional, and aligned with your true self. By forgiving yourself, you create the fertile ground upon which confidence, resilience, and purpose can flourish. Forgiving yourself is not a single act, but a continuous practice, woven into the rhythm of daily life. Each time you choose compassion over self-criticism, you reinforce the foundation of self-love. Every step toward forgiveness strengthens your capacity to grow, to thrive, and to move forward unburdened by the weight of the past. It is in this forgiveness that you find freedom, clarity, and the true potential for lasting transformation. By embracing self-forgiveness, you unlock the door to growth that is authentic, powerful, and deeply rooted in love. Authenticity is the quiet power that underpins every form of growth, and it is impossible without self-love. When you honor yourself, truly embrace who you are, and stop trying to fit into the expectations of others, you allow your life to unfold from a place of genuine intention. Too often, people measure growth by external markers, promotions, social approval, or material success. These things may provide temporary satisfaction, but they are hollow if they are not aligned with your authentic self. Self-love teaches that real growth begins when you stop performing for the world and start showing up for yourself. It begins when you recognize that your uniqueness is not something to hide or apologize for, but a gift that guides your path forward. Being authentic requires courage because it often goes against societal pressures, familial expectations, and even the subtle influence of friends and colleagues. Many people have been conditioned to conform, to mute their voice, or to follow paths deemed acceptable by others. Yet, the moment you choose self-love, you affirm your worth independently of external validation. You realize that living authentically is not arrogance, it is self-respect. By embracing authenticity, you stop chasing validation and begin creating a life that resonates with your core values, desires, and vision. Growth is no longer superficial because it is aligned with the truth of who you are rather than a constructed image designed to please others. Authenticity also enhances clarity in decision-making. When you operate from a genuine understanding of yourself, your choices are guided by your values and long-term goals rather than the fear of judgment or the desire for approval. Every decision becomes an extension of your inner truth. You no longer compromise your peace or sacrifice your priorities to meet someone else's expectations. This clarity streamlines your growth, allowing you to focus your energy on pursuits that genuinely matter to you. In this way, authenticity becomes a compass, directing you toward opportunities that are in harmony with your purpose and steering you away from distractions that deplete your energy and slow your progress. Relationships are profoundly transformed by authenticity. When you are true to yourself, you attract people who resonate with your energy and values. You no longer form connections based on convenience, obligation, or fear of being alone. Instead, your interactions are deeper, more meaningful, and mutually empowering. Authenticity creates an environment where respect, trust, and honesty flourish, providing fertile ground for growth both individually and collectively. Conversely, when you suppress your true self to appease others, you create dissonance that undermines your confidence and inhibits progress. Self-love guides you to honor your authentic expression, and this integrity becomes the foundation for thriving relationships and collaborations. Growth through authenticity is also resilient. When your actions and decisions are aligned with your true self, external criticism or failure loses its power to shake you. You develop an inner authority, a sense of certainty that comes not from others' approval, but from the consistency of your actions with your beliefs and values. Mistakes no longer feel like devastating blows, they are feedback from a life lived honestly. You learn, adapt, and move forward with confidence, knowing that your foundation is built on truth rather than pretense. Self-love provides the courage to maintain authenticity, even when it is uncomfortable or unpopular, because it reinforces the understanding that your well-being and growth are paramount. Authenticity also fosters creativity and innovation. When you stop censoring yourself to fit molds or meet expectations, your mind is free to explore, imagine, and experiment. You pursue ideas that resonate with your passions, take risks that align with your curiosity, and innovate in ways that are uniquely yours. Self-love enables this freedom because it reduces fear of judgment and failure. It encourages you to trust your instincts, follow your intuition, and express yourself without apology. Growth in this context becomes a natural byproduct of living authentically, where each step forward reflects a conscious choice to honor your individuality and your vision. Finally, authenticity rooted in self-love leads to fulfillment. Growth is not simply about achieving goals. It is about living a life that feels meaningful and aligned with who you are. When you embrace your authentic self, you no longer experience the tension of trying to meet external standards or suppress your true desires. You move through life with integrity, purpose, and confidence, and each accomplishment becomes a reflection of your inner alignment rather than external approval. The energy that was once spent on pretending or pleasing others is now devoted to nurturing your potential and expanding your impact. Being authentic is a continuous practice, not a one-time decision. It requires ongoing self-reflection, honesty, and the courage to shed what no longer serves you. Every time you choose authenticity over conformity, you reinforce the foundation of self-love and allow growth to occur naturally, powerfully, and sustainably. By embracing your true self fully, you unlock the potential for meaningful achievements, resilient confidence, and a life lived in alignment with your deepest values. Authenticity is not just a path to growth, it is the essence of growth itself, flourishing when self-love is at the core of every action and choice. Investing in your well-being is one of the most profound expressions of self-love, and it directly amplifies your growth in ways that nothing else can. True growth is not only about accumulating knowledge, achieving goals, or building skills. It is about creating a life where your mind, body, and spirit are nourished and empowered to perform at their highest potential. When you consciously invest in yourself, you signal to the universe and to yourself that you are worthy of care, attention, and intentional action. This investment is the soil from which confidence, clarity, and purpose naturally flourish. Without it, growth becomes inconsistent, fragile, and dependent on external circumstances rather than stemming from your own inner strength. Self-love is the compass that guides the investment in your well-being. It teaches you to prioritize yourself without guilt, to create routines that strengthen your mental and physical energy, and to make choices that honor your long-term health and happiness. Growth is impossible when you constantly deplete yourself for others, chase validation, or ignore your own needs. When you make time for rest, reflection, and self-care, you build resilience. You cultivate the capacity to face challenges without being overwhelmed. Every choice to nourish yourself, whether it is eating well, exercising, meditating, or spending time in solitude, reinforces your foundation for sustained growth. Mental well-being is a crucial component of this investment. Self-love encourages you to protect your mind from negativity, overthinking, and toxic influences. By prioritizing mental clarity and emotional balance, you create the capacity to think strategically, make sound decisions, and approach life with confidence rather than fear. Growth requires mental flexibility, problem solving, and resilience in the face of setbacks. When your mind is supported through self-care practices such as journaling, learning, or mindful reflection, you enhance your ability to navigate challenges and seize opportunities. Investing in your mental well-being is not indulgence. It is preparation for the demands of a life committed to growth. Physical well-being is equally vital. The body is the vessel through which every action and achievement occurs. Neglecting it undermines your capacity to perform, to endure, and to thrive. When you prioritize rest, exercise, and nutrition, you not only improve your health, but also send a powerful message of self-respect. Growth requires energy, stamina, and vitality, and these cannot be sustained without deliberate care for the body. Self-love manifests in the conscious decision to honor your physical limits, to challenge them when appropriate, and to nurture your health so that you can fully engage with the opportunities that life presents. Investing in your well-being also strengthens emotional intelligence. Self-love allows you to identify and process your emotions without judgment. It teaches you to recognize what energizes you and what drains you, and to make choices that preserve your emotional balance. Emotional resilience is a cornerstone of growth because life is filled with challenges, setbacks, and unpredictable events. When you are emotionally healthy, you can respond with clarity and wisdom, rather than reacting impulsively or out of fear. This emotional strength allows for deeper relationships, better leadership, and a more fulfilling life overall. Spiritual well-being, whether connected to faith, purpose, or personal values, is another area where self-love transforms growth. Investing in your inner life provides direction, motivation, and a sense of alignment with your deeper self. It helps you navigate life with meaning rather than aimlessness. When your actions are aligned with your values and your purpose, every step of growth becomes intentional and empowering. Self-love ensures that your pursuit of achievement does not overshadow your connection to your inner truth, creating balance between external success and internal fulfillment. Investing in your well-being also enhances creativity and problem-solving. A mind and body nurtured with care are fertile grounds for innovation and insight. When you honor yourself through rest, reflection, and personal development, you allow your intuition and imagination to flourish. Growth is no longer a mechanical pursuit of goals. It becomes a dynamic process of exploration, learning, and self-expression. Self-love creates the environment in which your talents can shine, your ideas can expand, and your ambitions can manifest with clarity and purpose. Finally, investing in your well-being cultivates confidence and self-trust. When you consistently choose yourself, when you protect your energy, honor your needs, and nurture your growth, you develop an unshakable belief in your own capabilities. This confidence is magnetic. It allows you to face challenges without hesitation, pursue opportunities without doubt, and engage with life fully and authentically. Self-love ensures that this confidence is rooted in reality, not arrogance, and that your growth is sustainable because it is built on care rather than compulsion or external pressure. Investing in your well-being is the ultimate act of self-love because it lays the groundwork for every other form of growth. It strengthens your mind, body, and spirit, providing the energy, clarity, and resilience necessary to navigate life with intention and purpose. When you prioritize yourself, you create the conditions for success, fulfillment, and sustained personal development. Every effort to nurture yourself multiplies, amplifying your capacity to grow, thrive, and contribute meaningfully to the world. By making your well-being a priority, you ensure that your growth is not only possible, but powerful, lasting, and deeply aligned with your true self. True growth begins when you honor your worth before seeking it elsewhere. Many people spend their lives looking outward, seeking validation, approval, or recognition from others, believing that external affirmation is the measure of their value. This reliance creates a fragile foundation because it places your self-esteem in the hands of circumstances and opinions beyond your control. Self-love flips this paradigm. It teaches that your worth is inherent, unconditional, and independent of how others perceive you. When you recognize this, growth becomes inevitable because it is no longer contingent on fleeting external validation. Instead, it emerges from a place of inner certainty, confidence, and integrity. Honoring your worth starts with self-recognition. It begins by acknowledging your strengths, achievements, and unique qualities without comparison to others. So often, people downplay their abilities or accomplishments, believing they are not enough, or that others are superior. This mindset stifles growth because it undermines motivation, diminishes self-belief, and creates a constant sense of inadequacy. Self-love requires you to see yourself clearly, to affirm your value daily, and to celebrate your progress regardless of how it compares to anyone else. Growth rooted in this recognition is sustainable because it is built on truth rather than illusion, on internal assurance rather than external applause. When you honor your worth, you naturally set boundaries that protect your energy and focus. You stop tolerating situations, behaviors, or relationships that deplete you or undermine your confidence. Growth cannot thrive in environments that are toxic, draining, or misaligned with your values. Self-love empowers you to make choices that prioritize your well-being, ensuring that your energy is directed toward pursuits that nourish your mind, body, and spirit. Each decision to honor your worth becomes an investment in your development, reinforcing the foundation for authentic, resilient growth. Honoring your worth also transforms the way you engage with challenges. Life is filled with setbacks, criticism, and unexpected difficulties. Without a strong sense of self-value, these obstacles can feel like confirmations of inadequacy, causing fear, hesitation, and stagnation. With self-love, however, you approach adversity from a position of strength. You trust your capacity to learn, adapt, and overcome. You see challenges not as reflections of your worth, but as opportunities to grow, refine your skills, and deepen your understanding. This mindset fosters resilience and courage, allowing growth to continue even in the face of uncertainty or failure. When your sense of worth is internalized, it also changes the way you pursue opportunities. You no longer chase external rewards or approval as the primary motivator for growth. Instead, your actions are guided by purpose, passion, and alignment with your authentic self. This creates a more meaningful and sustainable trajectory because your achievements are not hollow victories. They are reflections of your dedication, integrity, and self-respect. Self-love ensures that your ambition is anchored in authenticity, allowing you to grow without compromising your values or identity. Relationships are deeply affected when you honor your worth. Self-love teaches you that you deserve respect, consideration, and reciprocity in all interactions. When you recognize your value, you are less likely to accept mistreatment, manipulation, or one-sided effort. This clarity attracts connections that are supportive, empowering, and aligned with your growth. You begin to surround yourself with people who reflect the respect and care you show yourself, creating an environment where personal development is nurtured rather than hindered. Conversely, neglecting your own worth can lead to relationships that drain your energy, undermine your confidence, and slow your progress. Honoring your worth also influences the internal narrative that shapes your life. Self-talk, beliefs, and perspectives directly impact motivation, confidence, and resilience. When you value yourself, you replace doubt with affirmation, fear with courage, and comparison with self-appreciation. Growth flourishes in this mindset because it is rooted in encouragement rather than criticism. Every thought, decision, and action becomes a reflection of your recognition of your own value. By internalizing this respect for yourself, you create a consistent and unshakable foundation for development, ensuring that progress is not dependent on fluctuating circumstances or external validation. Finally, understanding your worth encourages a long-term perspective on growth. When self-love is at the core of your journey, you prioritize sustainable progress over temporary accolades. You invest in learning, self-care, and personal development with patience and dedication, knowing that your value is not determined by immediate results. This perspective allows for deeper, more meaningful growth because it focuses on alignment, integrity, and holistic well-being rather than superficial achievement. By honoring your worth before seeking it elsewhere, you transform growth from a reactive pursuit into a proactive, intentional, and empowered process. Growth that begins with self-recognition is enduring. It is grounded in confidence, protected by boundaries, resilient against challenges, and aligned with purpose. When you honor your worth, you no longer need to look outside for validation or approval. Your foundation is strong, your path is clear, and your potential is limitless. This inner acknowledgement becomes the engine that drives your development, ensuring that every step you take is rooted in love, respect, and unwavering belief in yourself. As we reach the end of this journey together, remember that self-love is not a destination. It is the foundation, the daily practice, and the guiding force that empowers every aspect of your growth. Every choice to honor yourself, every boundary you set, every act of forgiveness, authenticity, and care strengthens the roots from which your potential blossoms. True growth begins within, and when you invest in your mind, body, and spirit, you create a life of resilience, confidence, and purpose. Carry this understanding forward. Your worth is inherent, your journey is unique, and your growth is limitless when nurtured with love. Embrace yourself fully, trust your path, and allow self-love to guide you through every challenge and opportunity. Good luck on this incredible journey of becoming your best self. Thank you for taking the time to invest in your growth, for believing in your worth, and for committing to a life where self-love is the foundation of everything you achieve.